I spotted it in a junk shop in Bridport, a roll-top desk. The man said it was early 19th century and oak. I had wanted one, but they were far too expensive. It was going for a very little money. I thought I could restore it. It would be a risk, a challenge, but I had to have it. I paid the man and brought it back to my workroom at the back of the garage. I began work on it on Christmas Eve. I removed the roll top completely and pulled out the drawers. The last drawer was stuck fast. I tried all I could to ease it out gently. I struck it sharply with the side of my fist and the drawer flew open to relieve a shallow space underneath. A secret drawer. There was something in there. I reached in and took out a small black tin box. Sellotaped to the top of it was a piece of lined notepaper and written on it in shaky handwriting, Jim's last letter received January 25, 1915, to be buried with me when the time comes. I knew as I need it that it was wrong of me to open the box. But I was curious and opened. Inside the box there was an envelope. The address read, Mrs. Jim 𝙗𝙗𝙨𝙩, 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, Dorset. I took out the letter and unfolded it. It was written in pencil and dated at the top, December 26, 1914. Dearest Connie, I write to you in a much happier frame of mind because something wonderful has just happened that I must tell you about at once. We were all standing in our trenches yesterday morning. Christmas morning. It was crisp and quite all about as beautiful a morning as I have never ever seen. As cold and frosty as a Christmas morning should be. I should like to be able to tell you that we began it, but the truth I'm ashamed to see is that Fritz began it. First, someone saw a white flag waving from the trenches opposite. Then they were calling out to us from across no man's land. Happy Christmas, Tommy. Happy Christmas. When we had got over the surprise, some of us shouted back, Same to you, Fritz. Same to you. I thought that would be that. We all did. But then suddenly one of them was up there in his grey great coat and waving a white flag. Don't shoot, lads, someone shouted, and no one did. Then there was another Fritz up on the parapet and another. Keep your heads down, I told the man. It's a trick, but it wasn't. One of the Germans was waving a bottle above his head. It's Christmas Day, Tommy. You have scans. We have sausage. We met you. Yes, by this time there were dozens of them walking towards us across no man's land and not a riffle between them. Little Private Morris was the first up. Come on, boys. What are we waiting for? And then there was no stopping them. I was the officer. I should have stopped them there. And then, I suppose, but the truth is that it never even occurred to me. I should. All along their lines and ours, I could see men walking slowly towards one another, grey coats, khaki coats, mating in the middle, and I was one of them. I was part of this. In the middle of the war, we were making peace. We cannot imagine, dearest Connie, my feelings as I looked into the eyes of the Fritz officer who approached me, hand outstretched. Hans Wolf, he said, gripping my hand warmly and holding it. I am from Düsseldorf. I played the cello in the orchestra. Happy Christmas. Captain Jim McPherson, I replied, and a happy Christmas to you too. I am a school teacher from Dorset in the west of England. Ah, Dorset, he smiled. I know this place. I know it very well. We shared my rum ration and his excellent sausage, and we talked, Connie. How we talked? We spoke almost perfect English. But it turned out that he had never set foot in Dorset, never even been to England. He had learned all he knew of England from school and from reading books in English. His favorite writer was Thomas Hardy, his favorite book. Far from the madding crowd, so out there is no man's land, we talked of Bathsheba and Gabriel Oak and Sergeant Troy. And Dorset, he had a wife and one son, born just 6 months ago. As I looked about me, there were huddles of khaki and grey everywhere. All over no man's land, smoking, laughing, talking, drinking, eating. Hans Wolf and I shared what was left of your wonderful Christmas cake, Coney. He thought the marzipan was the best he had ever tasted. I agreed. We agreed about everything, and he was my enemy. There never was a Christmas party like that, Coney. Dearest Coney, by Christmas time near here, this war will be nothing but a distant and terrible memory. I know from all that happened today how much both armies long for peace. We shall be together again soon. I'm sure of it. Your loving, Jim. I folded the letter again and slipped it carefully back into its envelope. I kept awake all night. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I drove into Bridport, just a few miles away, asked a boy walking his dog where Copper Beaches was. House number 12 turned out to be nothing but a burned-out shell, the roof gaping, the windows boarded up. I knocked at the house next door and asked if anyone knew the whereabouts of a Mr. McPherson.
Oh yes, a lovely lady, a bit muddle-headed, but at her age she was entitled to be, wasn't she? 101 years old. She had been in the house when it caught fire. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. She used candles rather than electricity, because she always thought electricity was too expensive. The firemen had got her out just in time. She was in the nursing home now, Burlington House, on the Dorchester Road on the other side of the town.
Mrs. McPherson is not in with others. She's rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest. She has no family, you know, no one visits. So I am sure she'll be only too pleased to see you.
Hello. Happy Christmas, Connie. I found this, it's yours.
You told me you'd come home by Christmas, dearest. And here you are, the best Christmas present in the world. Come closer, Jim, dear sir, down. I read your letters so often, Jim, every day. I wanted to hear your voice in my head. It always made me feel you were with me. And now you're back. You can read it to me yourself. Would you do that for me? Jim dear, I just want to hear your voice again. I'd love that so much. And then perhaps we'll have some tea. I've made you a nice Christmas cake, marzipan all around. I know how much you love marzipan.